Hey y'all, Mama Snark here. We are here at Epcot. We're about to head into the Land Pavilion to check in for the behind the scenes tour, Glimmering Greenhouses edition. And y'all, I am so ready for this tour. Glimmering Greenhouses is literally my favorite ride during the holiday season. And we're about to go take a behind the scenes look. Follow along. Behind the scenes Glimmering Greenhouses tour is $45 per person, due at the time of booking. Currently, they have 2 tours for 6 and 7 p.m., but they plan on adding a lot more for next year, he said.
When that opened, we did have small kind of holiday decorations, wreaths, things like that. But it was so small that it didn't really catch the eye of Disney. 2017 comes around, and now at this point, they're kind of like growing a little bit at a time. And then Imagineers like, whoa, 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 there's too much going on here now. So they stepped in and took over a little bit. They did let the science team, the ag science team, pull this up a little bit so I can hear myself better. There we are. They did let the ag science team control the bulk of it, but they wanted to have their own input in it. So they added some things, they had some comments on things and started altering it at that point. So at that point, it became an overlay. We had just kind of general holiday decorations. But right around 2021, they renamed it Glimmering Greenhouses, and they really leaned into it at that point. That's when Imagineering started giving us a budget. We started being more playful with things and started kind of decorating things up and leaning into those decorations, so it really became a big deal. By 2022, it got put on the map for the holiday celebration here at Disney at Epcot. So that became an official part of that celebration. And then today, obviously, you guys are actually one of the first people who get to do this tour in the general public. So enjoy it. Enjoy this. Please take all the pictures and videos you want. If you enjoy this, upload all those to social media. If you don't do it. Don't even tell me what. Just like, oh, I don't know. I'll probably do it. All right. Welcome to the greenhouse, everyone.
I'm so excited. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Want to make sure that the breaks over in this area. It has to last us at least a little while.
Y'all. I'm dying. So this was our first look behind the scenes, and I was geeking out hard. So he was going over on this part, it was kind of hard to hear him, so I'm doing a voiceover, about how they started using hydroponics, which is the technique of growing plants using water-based nutrient solution rather than soil. So it takes up a lot less space, and they're able to grow a lot more in a, smaller area versus having to use soil for everything. And he was saying here on this thing that is kind of like rotating around with the plants on it, is that they're using the post as something for the plants to like grow up on. So they're not using as much square footage. And in this little base system here, you can kind of see like the roots are basically just going through water. They're not in soil at all. But just kind of the behind the scene like geek out session of how Epcot, living with the land, is able to grow so much produce in such a small square footage. And the Imagineers and engineers here are just absolutely phenomenal. But, here behind me, there's even more plants that they have, just no soil used at all, which is kind of mind-blowing.
Started using, kind of like freezing methods and storage methods that are going to allow us to have those foods for a long period of time, right? Does anybody know how old the apple is that you're getting from the grocery store? How long it's been since it's been picked?
A couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks? A month at least. A month at least? Up to about a year.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So when we store apples, we actually put them in, it's almost like a cryogenic chamber. It's not a freezing one, but we put it in there, we reduce all the oxygen in there, and then cool it down. And that allows them to be stored basically just frozen in time for up to about a year. So when you're getting your food typically now from your grocery store, a lot of those things have been stored for long periods of time and you don't realize it. If you farm, if you ever garden, you pull out those like potatoes or anything like that, and you make them, you're like, holy cow, these are so good. It's because you've grown them and picked them fresh instead of getting them from the grocery store where they seem fresh, and they are, but they are going to have a different flavor to them based on those storage methods, right? So when you look back in time, a lot of those things, when you think about your traditions and the foods that you've been eating on those traditions, they come from a period of time where they didn't have other things available to them. And Brussels sprouts is a perfect example. That is a winter vegetable. You get that in a wide range of temperatures. So in the UK, they'd get those right around the end of autumn, early winter. So when you harvest them, so you have those available to you. So that's one. Kale, we had to dig for this one. We're trying to figure out why they put them up there. Turns out they're using Christmas sausages overseas as well. But I feel like that's a little bit of a reach. So here's what we do. While I'm going to be yammering, if you guys want a picture taken behind this with your family, I'm going to stand right here. Bring your phones up to me. I'll take photos for you. Everyone else, you're welcome to kind of walk around in this little patio area and take pictures. It throws us into a little bit of a pickle because when our plants need sleep, they can't have light. And so there's like plants, for example, called short day plants. Short day plants are plants that require a longer period of sleep at night. So poinsettias, coyote, a few other plants like that. Those plants need a certain amount of sleep. And if they come here and we put them in here, they're not going to get it. So they won't flower. They'll grow, but they won't flower and they won't fruit. So let's go to production. We'll see how it looks like. Do please watch your step throughout the entire greenhouse. There's a lot of kind of dark places here. As long as you stay on the patio, you'll be fine. Now,
I'm so excited.
when we talk about the aspect of the short day plants, because of the lights we don't have, it's difficult to grow stuff in here on a regular basis. But with the holiday light situation going on, it's really can be difficult. Fortunately, most of the plants that we have are brought in and grown here. They're grown based on the fact that they don't need that long period of sleep at night, so they do fine in here. But if you look, there actually is, over on the other side, there's coyote somewhere. Let's find it. It's over, it's right over there. So in that area, it looks like a vine, there's no flowers or anything on it. Now, down around. You guys remember those tomato tree, right? So many people did behind the scenes. We got a virus that wiped out all the tomatoes.
Oh no!
So because of that, if you've been on here lately, you've noticed it's actually a sweet potato tree currently. The tomatoes had a virus, so we had to clear out all the tomatoes from here for about 3 months. And then we just brought them back in again. But during that, we were in that period, we're like, let's see if we can do something with sweet potatoes. As you can tell, we did very, very well. Has anybody ever grown sweet potatoes before? And feel free, if you wouldn't mind scooping up just a little bit, so everyone can kind of put it together around there. Has anybody growing sweet potatoes or in their garden or on their farm? So this is another one of those kind of storage things. When you talk about like potatoes, especially sweet potatoes, they typically go through a period in which you store them so they can form thicker skins, so they can travel better. For sweet potatoes, they need that period of time to cure so that the sweetness of the sweet potatoes comes out. Okay? Now, I want you to look over at that presentation over there where all those numbers are, and tell me what you see on it. If you can, because there's not much light on it. There are presents. What else?
Pears.
Pear. What's that? Pears?
Pears.
There are pears there. What else? Peppers? Yeah. Yeah. What about the very bottom? Right in front of the present.
Can't see that far.
There you go. Jams and jellies, right? Very typical sort of holiday get out to people. This is one of those instances where when we talk about eating things close by, remember I told you that you eat things that have been harvested recently, they're going to taste much better. That is ultimately the goal. But at the same time, you still want to be able to get those harvested things and make them last for a long period of time. And so preserving them in terms of jarring, canning, that sort of thing, will really make sure that you're able to kind of enjoy those.
Being backstage of this area and seeing the people go by in the boat and knowing that I'm on the behind the scenes aspect on it was really just surreal and one of the coolest experiences that I have ever had.
I will tell you from a future standpoint, I grew sweet corn when I was a kid. My sweet corn would hit those poles up there, and it was a big deal. Like, we were just like, yeah, that's great. The sweet corn we grow here across the way, you'll see it when we get ready to go into aqua cell. By the time it's ready to be harvested, the tassels for that corn reach the very top of the greenhouse and buckle over. And they grow a lot faster than they do in Indiana. So it works really well. All right. Speaking of holiday traditions, what about figs?
Fig pudding.
Yes, figgy pudding. I've been forbade from the origins of that, but that's fine. Yeah, I highly recommend if you ever get a chance to go look up the history of wassailing.
Is it bad?
It is awesome. You ever seen The Purge? So I will give you kind of additional information to keep it all nice and easy. So if you listen to you know, we wish you Merry Christmas, yeah, wish you Merry Christmas. And it's like bring some figgy pudding, bring right here. We won't go until you get some. Literally, people were coming around and knocking on doors and demanding food. They're going to ransack your house. So that's the fun part of it.
The more
So
you know.
definitely look that up because holiday traditions often steeped in some really interesting things, and we've taken them from kind of bad connotations to good connotations, and that gives us the feels, right? So yes, figgy pudding. Anybody know what's in the center of a fig? I may have just ruined figgy
Seeds?
pudding for everybody. There are seeds. What else? A wasp. So the wasp is a pollinator, typical for figs. We actually have crossbred this so we can do it by hand. We actually do it by, I believe, we use the commercial rate leaf blower to pollinate this. We're just going to blast it and kick the pollen out. But the wasp crawls inside the flower, pollinates it, and it dies. So when you open up a fig, right in the very center, there will be a wasp on the interior of it. So every time you eat a fig Newton, love your legs. Shannon! Is that Shannon? I think it is. So if you want to know who's the mastermind behind all that, it's Shannon. It's her. So wave to Shannon. Come in, Shannon.
I was just soaking up every moment of being in this magical dream world. Christmas lights make me so happy. Coffee.
Coffee. Who has a holiday story about coffee?
I just like to drink it.
There's nobody. Am I the only person? I can't be the only person.
I would be asleep with them.
It's when every kid in my neighborhood they always were angry at the parents because they refused to let them open presents until after they got their cup of coffee. So it's literally part of the angsty part of our holiday tradition. This is actually for me a big holiday tradition. This actually extends dramatically in the next room, but I do want to kind of point this out real fast because I'm a coffee. Is anyone here a coffee fanatic? Anybody hate coffee?
Get out.
Great! Hi, you go through. Who hated coffee? Nobody hates coffee? This is the first tour I haven't had anyone that hated coffee. Thank you for making me happy.
How do you hate coffee?
So, what's that?
I said, how do you hate
Oh,
coffee?
you'd be surprised. I had like 3/4 of my tour earlier today.
Well, they're awful.
So the big thing is you see red cherries, you're going to see some black cherries, you'll see some kind of green cherries over here. They're all going to ripen at different phases. So when you get that, to harvest it, you can't use equipment. It shakes everything off the tree and you lose 3/4 of the crop. So what we have to do is go through and make multiple passes and choose those by hand. So every coffee bean contains every cherry rather contains 2 coffee beans, and every cup of coffee is about 80 coffee beans. So it takes someone going around picking 40 cherries for you to get that cup of coffee. So appreciate it. That's why your coffee is on the expensive side. We'll talk about coffee again here shortly. That's one of my favorites. Can you take a picture of this? These are actually really cool.
Oh, wow.
For decoration, they are edible. Everything in a greenhouse is. But with this, it is only when it's very young. Typically, these are grown for 2 purposes. They look cool, so they're very pretty for decorations, and they can be carved into long labels. So if you ever see, I think the last time I saw was someone had like a kettle corn thing they were using, and they were using a spatula made out of corns. Right here. With the orange stuff on it.
Any peppers?
Peppers. Carolina Reapers. We harvest 7 of those a week for the entire festival. That's what we need. We just throw them in spicy water, or water to make up spicy water, and then that will be utilized as components on the spicy dishes.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know if anybody has a tradition for that, but if you don't, should.
Fine.
They're delicious. All right. How about citrus? Did I have holiday tradition for citrus? What is it? Yes! So
He was telling us here how tilapia actually want to be in very small and tight enclosed spaces such as this, and how they harvest them about every year, year and a half or so.
So beautiful. I am very happy right now.
So this was the conclusion of about an hour-long tour, and he told us, if you've noticed, most of the lights in the greenhouse are white, blue, and green, and that's to represent Earth and Mother Nature and Mother Earth, and that was the Science Imagineering team's idea for it. And he was also telling us that this Mickey plant we're coming up on here is the oldest plant in the greenhouse, and it's been here for about 22 years, which is phenomenal. But this tour, I feel like, was a once in a lifetime, like, had to do thing for me. I absolutely love the holidays, and it just makes me happy. So hopefully you enjoyed this tour. Make sure you give this video a like and a thumbs up, subscribe, and follow along for more content. Bye, guys.